Well, perfect. So I guess let's jump in. This is the first ATX agent series. So we're starting in our hometown of Austin, Texas, and we'll hopefully be going all around Texas to talk to different agents.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess first off, I'm Caleb Jones, CEO and founder of Inc. If you want to go around.
I'm Chris Huckabee. I work with the Bernie Real Estate Group. Keller Williams, Director of Agent Relationships and Training.
AKA Rockstar.
Yeah. Love that. Too kind.
Luis Renteria, AKA semi-rockstar.
I was going to say, wow.
He's a rock star also.
I can't. Yeah.
I like how we're also getting the AKAs already. But the real reason we're here is to interview agents. And so, Meghan, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, of who you are, how long you've been in Austin, how long you've been in the industry.
How'd you get into real estate?
Yeah, so I got all the answers.
Yeah, right.
So my name is Meghan Elizabeth. I actually was born and raised in Austin.
Nice.
And if I hear any of y'all call me a unicorn, I'm just going to laugh at you guys. And actually, my grandparents and my mom all did real estate. So it was something that for a long time I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do what you guys do. Like, sure. That's lame. Yeah. And then it just got to the point, like, I'm a huge people person. I'm really outgoing. And I, was always the person scrolling Zillow because I just also love houses. I love seeing them. I love the, differences of them. And, since I got in real estate, I also just, love giving the feeling of, home for someone. Not to get sentimental, but I just, that's something that I, have really just realize I thrive on is finding something that they can call home. Obviously I work with investors and other people, but my favorite are, the people that are planning to move in and sometimes even starting families and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
That's wild. So you've probably seen the land, the skyscraper, city line of Austin. It was probably farmland when you're growing up, right? You've seen 6 or 7 different iterations of Austin.
Yeah, it's really crazy because I went all the way from Montopolis area to Leander all the time. Growing up, I had friends, kind of everywhere. We actually moved yearly. Don't ask me why. My mom was in real estate. You would think that we would have bought, but instead we rented year by year and moved.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So similar to me.
That's funny.
I do that now too. Because I find so many rental houses or houses I like that I'm I would buy a house and turn it into a rental property and make money, and I'd probably just continue renting and moving around because I just always find something else that I like more.
And is it because the communities and the different neighborhoods are continuing evolving, or
just, I don't know. I like the different houses, and I get very bored. I'm always the person that always was rotating their rooms around or moving furniture around because I like to feel something new,
making changes.
Yeah. So then as I'm showing houses, I'm oh, 600,000. Let's do it.
Let's do that.
my buyer's year out. I don't think we're gonna get it. Next house.
That's funny. That's funny.
But I loved it. I come to actually really love real estate and just helping people. So that's something.
How long have you been in now?
So actively 2 years. Nice. I have been licensed for 3, but I will say my first year, I was just bartending a lot and didn't have the time or the mentor or anything like that to really push me into it. So I didn't actually have a transaction or really have a brokerage that I felt had the support until recently, 2 years ago.
Was that the change to go into 12 Rivers?
So actually I went to Sprout Realty.
Okay. Cool.
And I was there for about a year and a half.
Nice.
And then I just switched to 12 Rivers about 4 or 5 months ago. Nice. It's a better fit for me and kind of my growing ability and a lot of mentors there, which is really nice as well.
Accessible leaders are great.
I have a question. Tell me how and why you decided to get into real estate. I know your family all were into real estate, but what prompted you? What triggered you?
Honestly, I don't know if I have an exact answer. I waited until nobody was telling me to do it. And then I was I went to Champions Real Estate School and I signed up. And it's the rebellion in me finally was okay, you can rest and now you can actually do something that was obviously my calling well before I knew it.
Yeah. That's cool.
What'd your family think or say about it?
They were all just I told you so.
That's great.
They're finally.
Yeah, right.
I'm curious, what is it's obvious that you have this passion for real estate. You raised in it. I love that we're at Native Roots because it's obviously you're native to Austin.
Yeah.
What would you say your clients love about working with you?
other than my great sense of humor, I would honestly say I really do pride myself. Sometimes a little too much. I've actually had to learn how to not have my emotions in my clients' transactions, just because, especially usually on their side, I can get, like, if they're upset, I'm upset. So there is like that, where it is too much, but I do truly care about people. I don't ever actually calculate, my commission or anything like that. Yeah. I wait until we're at the closing table and I get handed a check and I'm like, oh, great. I can pay my rent or my bills or whatever, but I don't ever like to put a number value on anything. And that could be a $300K buyer or $1 million buyer. And I think that that's something that a lot of realtors, specifically in Austin, when it was really hot, like everybody was a number. Everybody walking around is a number over their head. And I truly just really, I enjoy working with people. And so I make it a thing that I'm very on top of it. Like, I have spreadsheets and all kinds of stuff. So I think I bring tools and everything like that. Also, I will say, like, my social marketing or social media marketing has also really helped a lot, specifically with, like, listings. Nice. I have, an influx of followers that are around 24 to 30, all in Austin, and all kind of getting prepared to buy, that are seeing all of these properties and getting ready to either make those moves or get pre-approved, or they're asking questions about any listing I have.
That's huge. Like, generating leads for yourself through that, right? Like, just buyer leads from your own listing. That's killer.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you focused on reels, posts? What type of content are you?
So I have pretty out there content. Like, I went, for instance, I went wake surfing with, like, heels and my work clothes on. Yeah. It was just, like, fun. It was honestly, like, I kind of come up with these little ideas that I think are really fun, and they get, like, a lot of people. Like, that post got, like, 3,500 likes, and this was well before I had even, like, a major Instagram following. Not that it's major, but
we're sitting down with the big shots.
Oh yeah,
that's why we
watch out.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, like, I have that. I actually went skydiving in my work outfit with a sold sign. Sure. I just did, like, a Halloween post.
So you're really creatively thinking about content for
like, I think
different.
And so I also do the content where it's like, it's telling you, like, 7 best ways to get the best interest rate or something like that. So I do really have, like, a mixture of, like, the funny voiceover reels, the informational stuff, and then just, like, the funny marketing here and there. Yeah. And I think that that's worked best for me because nothing gets, like, stale, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say.
And you're having fun with it, right? So that's the best part.
I mean, the one thing that I love about this is when we wanted to do this, the agent series, it was really about, I get to be fortunate is I get to talk to agents all day. And I'm not an agent, but I get to hear the stories of everything they have to do. And I feel like the general population doesn't know this. Like the fact that you're going skydiving as part of your job to get leads, right? Like, I don't think people realize that. I don't think people realize, like, how hard it is.
Pretty badass.
Yeah, like, what it is like to actually negotiate. What's it like to be emotionally invested in, your clients finding a home. Yeah. Do you have any crazy stories about, like, what's the weirdest, like, writing an offer story, or, like, this, like, pulling over the side of the road to get an offer in before, especially in, like, this white hot market, or that you could share with, the listeners?
There's a lot. I mean, honestly, it's not the craziest thing to have to pull over and write up an offer, or, like, I've been at bars, out on a Friday night, and I have my laptop, either with me just from the day or something, or maybe it's in the car, like, nearby, but I'll be sitting at a bar, with a cocktail, and I'm, like, still, like, having to work, not too many in, obviously, but, that's actually not crazy for me. I will say the craziest thing I had was actually with a listing. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this. But it was a really, really tough listing. Listings are usually pretty easy. This client was very, very particular on everything. And then there was just a lot of things that ended up getting left in the home after the final walkthrough and everything, where those were supposed to get picked up. Oh, no. And that's a big issue.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
So I ended up spending $400 and my entire Saturday, paid a friend to basically use his truck and have him help me, and we had to load stuff up and take it, like, and throw it away.
You personally,
yes.
like, rolled up your sleeves,
yes.
put some gloves on,
put some leggings on, ran up, and used my entire Saturday to pull like everything out of this house that was left.
What was in it?
I'm sorry?
What was in it?
Honestly, just
what
like,
was the
you know,
most
like,
fun thing?
like old cabinetry. There was like a giant fish tank that was
an
dried out.
antique
It was all the
cabinet.
junk stuff.
You know, stuff that they don't want to take with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was kind of like, okay, well, you know, just breathe. It's fine.
What are you doing differently now in the market? Obviously, there's been a shift. Everyone knows there's shifting markets.
Right.
Everyone's going through stuff. What are you doing differently now? Like, have you noticed a main change that you're making, or anything you're doing differently?
You know, like in the white hot market where people just had buyers walking up to them, I didn't actually. And I don't know why, but truthfully, I just didn't. I still was, you know, doing all the same things that I learned how to do 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Sure.
I will say I'm definitely being more strategic with my social media. I think social media has a huge presence, specifically Instagram. I try to keep it with Facebook, but that's not really my forte.
Sure.
But honestly, like I even printed, you know, like scavenger hunt flyers for Halloween that just have my information at the bottom. So it's not like, hey, let me be your realtor, but it's like, wow, this girl is going door to door and leaving a scavenger hunt for my kids.
Right. An item of value, something
stuff.
fun, something that's not buy a house from me.
Right.
Who do you know buying real estate? Something like that, right?
Definitely buying more coffees for people.
Of course.
And
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
you know, shaking hands, kissing babies, but
more activity right now, right? Like that's the big thing, is that you find yourself doing more in general, like needing to do more, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think another big thing that I was even telling him a lot of realtors didn't have to do or weren't doing is educating themselves. Like I know plenty of newer agents that they just relied on, you know, hey, you know, here's a Zillow lead, and they would close it.
Order taker,
and
right?
Yeah. And when you had 20 offers on a house, people had to move quick, you know, and so it was more like open, close, open, close, open, close. And like, it's not like that anymore. And you have to know what you're saying. And if not, people are willing to interview their agent and they're like, no, see you later.
Yeah, most definitely. Definitely.
That's also something different now.
Oh, yeah.
In this market, are you seeing contingent offers again, or is it still like no contingency? Let's go.
I haven't. I just had one that was close to it, but they were actually able to purchase before closing on what they needed to sell, which is obviously the most ideal. I haven't seen any contingency quite yet, but I think we're still kind of earlier in this shift that a lot of people are actually just choosing to wait. But I think right now, like I've had a few more people reaching out now that they've kind of settled in with where interest rates are. Yeah. And also I just even posted something that, like, you know, in February, March, you were paying almost probably $150,000 more than you were supposed to.
Right.
So when you relate that to, you know, interest rates going up a little bit, when there's buy downs available and stuff, there's so many tools.
So many options.
Yeah. Then that's when I think, and I always post, I've been posting like about buy downs and putting information out there to kind of relate to what I think are mostly buyers are, you know, most of my followers. Because most of them don't own homes. They rent in Austin. And with the rental market being what it is, they're going to want to purchase. I mean,
I know.
I just had somebody reach out. Yeah. I just had somebody reach out for a $5,000 lease per month. Like they're looking for that. And I'm like, what?
real quick, someone on our team just had a client that was moving to Austin, that their budget was $15,000 to $20,000 a month for a lease because they didn't want to buy. They wanted to figure out if they liked the area first.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Who?
There you go.
Who are you?
Who are you? Yeah, who are you? What are you doing?
I don't know. I mean, my biggest thing is like, even if you wanted to move in a year, at that point, it's like, why wouldn't you buy it and then turn around and rent to somebody just like you?
If you have that level of money, what are you doing? That seems like a bad investment.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, exactly.
Could never be me.
Holler at me. All right, Caleb, we got about a minute left.
Well,
what you got?
My final question, I guess, is if there's another realtor listening to this that's going to be on the other side of the transaction as you, what should they know about you, about working with you? Because I mean, it's kind of an interesting dynamic, right? Where it's kind of not adversarial, but they're on the other side of the table.
Right.
But at the same time, you're both optimizing to facilitate a clean, you know, satisfactory, honest transaction. So what would you recommend someone know about you if they're going to work with you?
I mean, I think like most realtors, everybody starts off as best friends. Everybody's sending the nicest messages. Everybody wants to be cordial. I will say I'm a very, very like straightforward person from start to finish. And I've actually never had an issue with an agent, per se. Like I don't really make it a thing to, come off catty or, anything like that. But I will say that I've had older agents kind of treat me differently because somehow I met them or they see something about me, or maybe I made a mistake and it's like all of a sudden I'm crucified for it. And I know that even in my career moving forward, I just don't ever want to be that. So I think ultimately it's like, I'm going to be nice until...
Yep.
Maybe the gloves come off first. I don't know. Sure. I'm like, I really do think that ultimately, like, even with realtors, like, it's really big to have relationships even with other brokerages, and really, like, I don't believe in bashing other people or bashing other agents. And
we're all in this together. Like,
yeah.
And there's plenty of business.
So much.
Everyone.
Plenty.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, on that note, cheers.
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 Thanks so much for sharing with us,
Yeah.
Meghan.
Yeah, thank you very much for visiting.
I'm excited.
It's awesome.
Cheers.